Welcome back to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, Mike C-Roc. So glad that you're here. So glad for your listenership. So glad for your support. Always start the show with gratitude and letting you know how much I appreciate you and the help that you've had with spreading the Waymo movement across the world. And guys, it's been a short run, but we've accomplished a lot, and I just want to thank you for that. And today's guest, I got you guys just buckle your seatbelts. That's all I got to say. I have Dan Waldschmidt with me, and Dan doesn't just talk about leveling up. He's obsessed with it. He sets records as an ultra runner and been the personal strategist for the leading business leaders of our time. He wrote a book called Edgy Conversations that accidentally became a worldwide bestseller and continues to share his insights from the stage as a keynote speaker and on his blog and podcast. Most days you'll find Dan heads down working on breakthrough strategies for his clients at Edgy, a highly focused, invite-only business strategy execution company based out of Silicon Valley.
That's a mouthful, dude.
That's a mouthful. I'll let you.
Yeah, no. It's at a certain point, I'm like, listen, someone on my team needs to get fired. I'm sorry, but that's just way too much bullshit there. That's like trying to stuff 17 pounds of malarkey into a 3-pound knapsack, you know?
Yeah. Well, look,
I'm excited to be with you, dude.
Thanks for joining me. I do the same thing when I go guest on there, and I'm like, oh man, that's long. But first of all, this show, we talk about what are you made of, okay? And that's the question we always start with before we get into anything, because we want to find out about our guests. We want to find out what kind of person we're dealing with, and we want to connect with them with heart. So, Dan, what are you made of?
Resilience. I think if there's a key defining feature, I mean, there's a lot of things, but I think, I learned early on that that the one thing that I could do better than just about anyone else on the planet was endure. And I could take more pain. I could take less sleep. I could take more setbacks. At the end of the day, I'm going to stand up. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep pushing for where I want to be. And it's a superpower. It's a superpower because the reality is, like you were just talking about the book. Show me that title again. Was it 3 Feet from Gold?
Yeah, we were talking about off air. 3 Feet from Gold.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the story too. I think of like the miner who stopped digging. He was only like 3 feet away, literally from the largest discovery of gold.
Yep.
And just stopped. And I remind myself. I tell our teams, what if today was the day you were going to win and you didn't show up? And that's the sort of thinking that drives me on a basis. I can do one more minute. I can do one more time. I can push for one more stretch. Why wouldn't I? Why would I lay down and give up if I could just keep persisting? And there's a lot you can achieve if you just persist. Persist.
And that's what you're got now. But where did that come from? There's got to be a source, right? There's got to be a period of time or something that was developed or an event.
Well, so I think where that came from. Sorry, we're all doing the COVID interwebs, right? With stuff going all over the place, but. I think what I learned that growing up was just in the things that I attempted, I learned that most people weren't willing to do enough to get to the next level. And it was in small areas. For example, I played the euphonium. I grew up playing the piano hour a day, had to practice. The parents made us. But I grew up playing the euphonium. The euphonium was like a small tuba. And it looked a little weird. It was different. So I was like, yeah, I kind of like this. It's different. It's out of the box. And like a little small tuba, and I would play it, and you have that metal, that thing that's on your lips, and I remember my lips were so sore that I would like get all puffed out and stuff from playing it, and hour after hour after hour practicing, even though it hurt. And what's funny is after like a hardcore summer or two of grinding on it, I mean, I became like, like not just a good euphonium player. I was competing in like national competitions, and same with piano. I mean, I remember practicing when I was in. There was an event. I write about the story in my book, but there was a time when so I'm the second of 5 kids, and my mother, from the time I was 4 years old, I had to practice the piano, literally an hour a day. She taught us, and then we had other teachers and got bigger. And one day I went to her, and it was at the time where I started, just kind of thinking for myself. I must have been like 9th grade, something like this. And I said to her, I don't want to practice the piano anymore. And for me, I was thinking, I'm done. I get an hour of my life back. This is great. And my mom just looked at me and she said, that's okay. your brother, he's good enough for everybody. So it's good. Something like this, some comment that I interpreted as, you're not good enough anyways, so it's okay. You should quit. Now, of course, as a parent, no one actually says that, but that's kind of what went into my head. So I took a couple months off, and then I started practicing, and then it became a thing to me. Like, what could I do? How could I really prove my greatness? Since 4, and now I'm in 9th grade, so I'm like 14, 15. Like, this is 10, 11 years of piano, and so it was classical music. So Rachmaninoff, Chopin, Beethoven. This is what you're learning. And so I remember I went to my new piano teacher and said, look, I need to find a piece of music. We settled on one, and it was Rachmaninoff Opus 3, number 2. And I'm telling you, Mike, I would literally practice that. Each note, it was like 10 fingers. It was just like your hand feels like it's going to stretch. And I would practice chord after chord after chord. And if you ever, have a bit of whimsy and go look up Rachmaninoff 3, Opus 3, number 2, it's fast, slow. And here I am now as this, 15, 16-year-old kid, practicing the piano enough to the time where I would win the state of Virginia classical music competition, as a junior or senior. I forget what year it was in high school. And those sort of things left an impression on me. You don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the smartest, but God damn it, you do have to fucking try. And you have to try and try and try. That led me to running. That led me to building companies. Led me to running ultra marathons and other things where at the core of who we are as people, we have to persist. We have to be resilient.
Yeah, no, that's what I was looking for. On that first question, that's what I was looking for. Because there's always something. Your mom basically challenged you. She gave you a little challenge, and I think she knew what she was doing. And, everybody needs one of those things, man. I always talk about getting into orbit, right? We got to get out of gravitational pull in our business, in our life, whether it's athletics or working out or whatever it is. Get into orbit, because you can get away. Once you get away from gravity's pull, you don't need to keep fueling with all those things, those stories from the past. That's where we're shooting for. And so, I'm always talking about that, but looking for fuel sources. And that with your mom, I have my own sources. I know Tom Brady talks about being drafted in the 6th round. That's one of his big fuel sources. Michael Jordan not make it to the high school basketball team that one year and got beat out by the one guy, and he used that one guy to keep pushing. Yeah. There's so many stories like that, right?
Have you seen that documentary, The Last Dance, on ESPN, where he talks about – I just watched the last episode of it last night while I was working, and I thought, he used everything. Could be someone looked at him the wrong way. He used it as fuel. Now, there's negative fuel like that. You have to be careful. It's like a fire. It can consume you. Someone cuts you off in traffic, someone stops, pulls out a gun, and you hear about someone getting shot. The negative fuel consumed them. So level number 1 is being motivated, just having something to drive you. The second level is like being aware of the power that you have in this drive. I think the third level, and I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, that I admire in others. I see some people who are motivated by like love and motivated by, a greatness. They're motivated by like very much positive things, right? It's inspiring. I'm not there at that level yet, but they use the fun, the happy, the bright moments in life to inspire them to reach that next level, right? And that's, I think, the ultimate level, which is, like you said, it's breaking free from the gravitational pull, that negativity of the things that might hold you back.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great concept to think about, because I was thinking about the fact of COVID-19 and how some businesses thought they were there or they were this close. And then here comes COVID and it pulled them back. Now my business, thank God, I'm in the mortgage business. We've set records during COVID, and I'm just so thankful that we had the opportunity to be able to do that during this. But I think a lot of that had to do with preparation going into it and understanding from 2008 what we dealt with then, and then going into this, how we were going to approach this. Like thinking, I told my team day one when this came up, we're not going to use this as a reason not to be successful. We're going to use this as a reason that we're going to blow up. And we shifted our mind frame from day one. So we knew every day from that point, we were going somewhere based on what I had just talked about. So that gravity thing, you're always constantly looking at, economy problems, the market problems, you know, in our business, bad appraisals or inspections or whatever it is. And,
Yeah.
you know, we got to outdo that. So that, you know, that's the mind frame we always have in our business. So now,
well, what you look for, you'll find. What you look for, you'll find. You'll find someone who's negative, and they'll find negativity all around them. You know, if you're looking for greatness, if you're looking for opportunities to level up, and I don't care where you are. I don't care whether you have an hourly job. I don't care whether you have. I don't care what it is. You know, what I know about studying 1,000 people, their stories, and of course that's what became the book, Edgy, is that you know, the universe doesn't like wait for you to be awesome. It challenges you to be awesome in spite of yourself. Think about this, like Colonel Sanders, Harlan Sanders, right? So we all know his story. We already know the end of the story, but let's just think about this point in time. That man was retired, Mike. So he was 65 years old. He had this restaurant. It was doing great. He was like end of life, like not true end of life, but like he was in his golden hour, right? And all of a sudden, this road that had passed right by his restaurant, everyone came because it was great food and great chicken, this amazing food that tasted so good. This road got rerouted. And for him, that was a bad thing. It was like, my life is over, my job is over, my restaurant is over. And from the time he was 65 to 95, he built $1 billion company. And I just wonder, sometimes we fight so hard for the road not to be rerouted. We fight these things so hard that we don't see that maybe the road being rerouted is the time for us to launch, right? That's the time for us to get that next leg up. And that's what's happening right now is that, yeah, we are being forced to rethink things. 2008 made us do that. COVID's making us do that. But maybe that job that you hate so much anyways, fuck it. Maybe it's time for you to get a new job anyways. And you know it. By the way, Mike, and again, I need to shut up for a second, but think about this. How many people have you met who are like, what are you doing? Like, man, I hate my job, man. I got my boss is a jerk, right? And you're like, well, why are you there? Oh, well, man, I got to pay the mortgage. I got to do this thing. I do this other thing. And now for some people, all that excuse is ripped away. And you don't have a place you need to be. You don't have a commute. You don't have a bus to hop on. You've got time. You've got time to put together your strategy. You've got time to work your plan. You've got time to connect with people, to learn, to grow. Like, this is like an incubation. You're in a greenhouse of greatness. Plant the seeds, grow the crop. You decide what the harvest is going to be.
Yeah. One exercise I like to do with my team and anybody I coach is, hey, listen, put a piece of paper down and write down every bad thing that's ever happened to you in your life. Just go down the page. Just get it all out of you. Then to the right of it, write down what good came from it. Because every single time you can find something. So if you become aware of that, going forward, once you become aware of that, understanding no matter what you're going through, it's a training session for your future. Now, you're an ultra runner. You have to train to do that.
Yeah.
How does it feel to train for an ultra marathon? I mean, just the feet, the rub, I will say, in spots where you shouldn't, you know, it's not a comfortable feeling. And if you were going through that, not understanding what you were going to get out from the other side, it would be miserable. So what's the difference between going through it and not being aware, or being aware of the final destination?
Well, so before you run the first one, everything's a mystery, right? So, you know, the first time I ran, a couple of buddies in a shoe store were like, say, hey, we got to run this 100-mile race, and peer pressure, right? But there's a lesson. You will rise to levels of greatness by the people you associate with. I happened to be hanging around some bums in a shoe store who were like, let's go run this race. And go, yeah, sure. Why the hell not? If you can do it, I could do it. It's kind of my attitude, right? And so how do you train for a 100-mile race? You run long distances, but you can't go run 100 miles. It's too taxing. And so some of my longest runs were like 30-ish miles, something like that. But you train and prepare. We get to the event. It's in the hills of Arkansas. And like, by the way, this is not a place like you want to get lost. It's like a horror movie, literally. I mean, I love Arkansas. It's a wonderful, beautiful place, but this was not the least scariest part of the state. It definitely was not. So I'm running. And I didn't realize you can walk, you can jog. You don't have to run this whole thing. I ended up coming in fourth place in that first race I ever did. And it was funny in some ways. the spell was broken. Like, I've run lots of 100-mile races since then. And I kind of know going into it how tough it's going to be. That first time I was clueless. Like, I was like, all right, now I kind of build it up in my mind. But what's interesting is you learn. So you learn, hey, look, I'm running. I got joints. I got clothes. Some people, their nipples bleed or they get chafed on their legs. I mean, it gets bad, right? And so what do? Well, you prepare. So now oh, I need a little chafe butter, or I need a little bit of, I need a little, sometimes you deodorant or whatever it is to keep things moving. I need to hydrate. Now I know there's special powder I put in my water, like, to keep extra hydration in my body. I might take salt tablets, like our armed forces do in the Middle East on hot days. You take salt tablets, keeps more water in your body, things like that. So you prepare so that when you're in the middle of that course, you can persist. Right. And so I think what hard times teach us is they give us a mini boot camp. They give us a chance to level up so that the rest of the time, everything you do is at a higher level of greatness. One thing I was thinking about, Mike, is that, in the last 2 days, I've been thinking about this. As I look back at the dotted lines connecting everything, I can't see it going forward. Some people are like, oh, in 5 years I'm going to be here. In 10 years I'm going to be here. I've never been one of those people. I could never predict where I'm going to be. But when I look back, I see all these dotted lines, and I have this thought: how many other dotted lines would I have if I had tried something different? If I had persisted longer? If I had made that extra connection? Right? I'm an introvert, so I'm not really someone who goes out and hangs out and pals around. And if I'm in a group or gathering, I'm kind of at the edge of the room looking in. But like, what if I did take 3 steps forward and then shake that guy's hand? What if I did say, hey, how can I help you? One extra comment, one extra meeting, one extra phone call. What extra dotted lines would I create so that eventually when they all connect, my path to greatness is a little bit further ahead, a little bit faster down the line. And so that's just something I've been chewing on recently. More dotted lines.
Yeah, I love that. Well, let's talk about Edgy now. So Edgy's actually a book that you wrote, right? And a company.
Yep.
Right? Okay. And
yep.
Are you partnered with Jill?
I am.
Okay. Yeah, because Jill was going to be a guest and she was having some technical difficulties, so she rescheduled with me. I'm looking forward to talking to her as well. And now, is she more like, you guys are partners now? Is she more of an extrovert than you, or is there a yin and yang there with you?
Oh, two? Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just smarter. She got all the good qualities. If you just need some dumb dude to keep moving, shuffling forward, then you call me up and I'm like, yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
I love it. Well, talk to me about the book. Cause and Edgy is similar to Waymo.
Yeah.
Which you asked me for about what Waymo means, but go ahead and describe that. I have it written here, but I'll let you describe it.
Yeah, so Edgy Conversations. And again, I came from a background where I grew up with no TV in my home, so I had to read a book every day of my life from the time that I could read. And so I've been a big reader. I'm still a big reader. Still read about a book a week. Can't read more than that just because of my busyness. But so reading means something to me. And I had not read many books. Share that context to say, it's not like I've read 2 books in my life. I've read a lot, thousands of books. I felt like I had not read a book where someone said to me, how could you achieve success if you're not born rich? How do you achieve success if you maybe dropped out of college, if you've made some really fucked up decisions in your life and you're trying to rebound? Like, what's your path? The books that people write often are about how to do everything right and have a great life. What if you're a normal person and you're a screw up? What if you're a normal person and you don't get it all right? Then what? That led me down a 4-year journey, Mike, where I started looking at how ordinary people, bums like you and I, right? How do we achieve success? And it was exciting. I was reading, there's a story in the book about a guy with, plays professional football. He's in the Football Hall of Fame, born with one leg. Just stuff like that. Guys that went from homeless to multi-billionaire. There's stories that couldn't even fit into the book because there's just too many of them. At a point, it would be a storybook, right? Actually, I'd have some meat beyond the stories of just the nuance of people just like you and me, and people watching who feel beaten down, broken down, and all of a sudden, one choice one decision, one moment decides everything else. And so that's the book. And so we talk about 4 qualities I saw time and time again. And so that's what led me to write the book, Edgy. Edgy stands for extreme behavior, disciplined activity, a giving mindset, and being human. And I think when I saw these time and time again, you are going to have to be uncomfortable. And that's what extreme behavior is. Look, if you're comfortable right now, comfort and growth cannot persist in the same space. They just can't. You go into a gym and break down muscle so you can build it. You go running and get cramps and get sore so you can build endurance. It takes discomfort to build capability. And then, being disciplined. Look, let's talk about life fitness and mind fitness. We make a lot of stupid decisions. Me at the top of the list, because my mind isn't strong, it's not sharp. I get distracted, either by a good thing or a bad thing. And then my whole day is out of whack because of something that should have been solved upstairs, right? And then giving, we often talk about trading. I write about this in the book, trading. People say, I'm giving you a white paper, I'm giving you a course, or I'm giving you something. I'm giving you a paycheck. Well, we're trading for those things. Usually I trade my name and email address to download your PDF. I'm trading hours for money, those sort of things. And when's the last time that any of us did something to truly give? It's a gift to the universe, to somebody It's a gift. It's no strings attached. But when I see people that do great things, they bring gifts to the world, to people around them. In other words, let's just say this another one. Do you give more value to your work, to your church, to your community, to your family than you take? To be honest with you, a lot of times the answer is maybe not. For a lot of us. And if you want to know the path to greatness, it's to level that up. And the last one is be human. Look, a lot of us are flawed. We're all flawed, but not just you, but so are the people around you. What's that mean? We got to give people a break. People have bad days. They're not bad people. A lot of people just have bad days, and it coincides on the day where you might be having a bad day. And so now 2 of you are having a bad day. Things can spiral out of control. People who are successful tap into that. You might call that emotional intelligence, right? You might call that empathy. But at the larger level, it's understanding, look, we're flawed, using those flaws to achieve some bit of greatness. And so that's what Edgy's all about. There's a bunch of stories, 150 stories. I'm excited about it just because for me, I wanted to know about what ordinary people can do. Don't give me a silver spoon. Tell me something about somebody like me who achieved greatness. That's a path I want to follow.
Right. Because there's more people that are ordinary. Right. And then, so how did you develop the business with that? What's the business all about?
So what's interesting is that the business I've been solving since I sold my business in 2008. I've been consulting for companies in 19 countries all over the world already. And so what's interesting is these philosophies, writing a book allowed me to codify, allowed me to actually crystallize my thoughts on these subjects. But what's interesting is we had already been sharing these stories of these principles of greatness with companies all over the world, right? And we specialize in working with mid-market companies, $30 to $500 million in size, where someone's put the company on their back and grown it, probably very similar to what you're doing, right? And then someone's like, how do I get to 100 million? How do I get to 150? And come alongside and help them. And a bit of that's mental. Some of it's some different motions, but a lot of it's that preparation and strategy and mental focus that leaders need to have. And so that's the impact that it has on our business day to day.
Yeah, and understanding the points of the business where that you're gonna run into a ceiling or a break point because of the either the amount of the business that's actually coming in and your service levels, or compliance. It could be compliance situations. It could be a number of things, but you got to understand that. And if you're somebody just going into it and you're having success, which is great, a lot of times, here's the other thing. People don't build a code culture as their foundation, and they get some success, but the culture's not there. And then the success basically weighs too heavy on them. Right. So, yeah. So then how did you get with Jill, and how did you guys come together? Was the book first? Was the business first? Like, how did that all come together?
Yeah, so Jill and I have been friends and partners at some bit of relationship for 15 years. We were part of a CEO group it's called Vistage, which I think it's pretty popular now in Northern Virginia. And so I think you talked about culture. Trust is a big part of what's meaningful to a lot of leaders, me included. And it's hard to move quickly when you don't trust your team, when you don't trust your partner. And so, yes, competence is great. When you hire for competence, it's great. Hiring for trust, hiring for someone who can push you to the next level. That's something I was looking for. And so, Jill and I have been working together for just a whole bunch of years. And, it's fascinating how you can have the opposite skills and be good at what you do, but be miserable at things that really matter, and have somebody else doing those things. And you just sit back and admire and go, wow, I should probably get better at that.
Now, and so let me ask you that leads into the last question that I have for you today is, what is something that you're struggling with right now?
Yeah.
You
so I am a huge fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza, who wrote Becoming Supernatural. So for me, mindset's important. I would love to have transcendent meditation. And I'll tell you, it's still something I'm working through right now. It's like I do it because I'm resilient, right? So I'm going to force myself to meditate. But getting to that point where I see some people, they have like out of body experiences. They've got like, it's like heads exploding. Awesome. I'm not there. I'm like, fuck, how do I do it? But I'm trying to develop that. So I think that's a challenge that I'm working through right now, which is how to elevate my mind game, meditation game, to just reach new levels of seeing where greatness is.
Yeah. I think
if I can see it, I can go there, right? If I can't see it, I'm frustrated because I can't get it if I can't see it. So I got to see it, see the path, and then I can go get it.
I can relate to that, man. You seem like a lot like me. I hardly ever can relax. I'm always like on to something next. Okay, what's going on? It's hard to sit on the couch and watch something is just impossible. The only time I watch TV, I'll lay down at night and watch maybe half an hour before I fall asleep. And it just, because I feel like I'm wasting.
What do you watch? Something funny or something interesting?
Really, truthfully, I watch whatever my wife's watching, and I'll ask her questions about it because I miss the episodes all the time and I fall asleep and she gets annoyed with me. And then I say to hell with it. I just go to sleep. So
same here. I'm like, so what's this? Oh, shut up! No, what's the thing over here?
Yeah, then
I'm like, all right, fine.
She'll pause it and say, "What?" So yeah, but anyway,
that's your message. That's awesome.
What can you share with the audience? Anybody, any services that you have, or any way they can connect with you?
No. Listen, look. If you want a free copy of the book, you can go to freeedgybook.com, and I'll send you a copy for free. We sold over 600,000 copies of the book around the world. It was a bigger success than I ever planned it to be. I'm glad. It feels like it's more than a pound of flesh in it. It's my heart and soul, writing it for 4 years. But if you want a copy, we'll send you one. And then I tell people this, if you want someone to help you, just reach out. My cell phone number's on the web. You can go to, you can do any number of places. You can just track me down and I'll help you. I always say this, I always there have been people in my life who stopped and said, hey, dude, let me help you, and guided me on that path. And I've never forgotten the impact it had on my life. Some of them moved me to tears. I mean, in my soul, like it saved me. And so, if I can be that for somebody else in just a small way, man, that's my duty. That's my duty. So reach out and help. If you're someone who wants a quick path to making money, fuck off. If you want someone, you're looking for shortcuts, call somebody else. But if you're looking for real help, then we've got a hand up for you.
Awesome. I love it, man. I love it. Well, thank you very much. Gratitude from me to you for being on the show. I appreciate the connection now as well. We're going to do big things here. I know you're already on the big things and bigger. So I look forward to running into you here in the future, Dan. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. You guys have been listening to the What Are You Made Of podcast with your boy, Mike C-Roc. go subscribe, please, on iTunes and the Spotify or whatever your favorite platform is for podcasts. And also YouTube, Mike C-Roc, Ciorrocco, the channel. Go subscribe there. You can watch these episodes as well. And I just want to thank you again for your support and your listenership. And until next time, be great.